In this tutorial, we are going to see about Android components. So far, we have seen about the basics and features of Android, and now we are going to see about what are the different components of Android. So, if you take Android components, we have mainly 5 components: activities, services, broadcast receivers, content providers, and along with that we'll be having notification and other additional components. So here comes the main components. So we could see all the components there, and if you take the first component, activity, this is the main thing of an Android application. Whenever you create an Android application, a form or a window will come. That window is said to be simply an activity. So it will be having its own life cycle, like creation and stopping, updating and deleting. So it has its own life cycle. So this is the main part of any Android application. So this will be having its own defined user interface. Next comes the services. The other important component of Android application. Mainly this performs in the background. So suppose if you have an activity and if you want to have another work done behind the activity, then we have to create that as a service. Next comes the content provider. So content provider manages the application data. Suppose if you are going to work Android with along with the data, then we have to rely on content provider. So next comes the one of the important component, that is intent. So if you take Android intents, it can be classified into 2 types. One is an implicit intent and the one is explicit intent. So if you take an implicit intent, so we will not have declare the name of the service, but declares the action to perform. Suppose if you take an explicit intent, we have to specify the exact activity to which the intent should be given. So for example, if you take a dial call, map location, open web page, those things are classified under an implicit intent, and starting an activity, services or broadcast, that comes under explicit intent. So next comes broadcast receiver. So this enables the application to listen for intents. Suppose if you are going to create an intent, it should be listen and some action should be taken thereof because of the triggering of this intent. So for that we need this broadcast receiver. So broadcast receivers can be specified as normal broadcast or ordered broadcast. If you take a normal broadcast, they are completely asynchronous, and all the receivers of the broadcast are run in an undefined order. Suppose if we take an order broadcast, they are synchronous and are delivered to one receiver one at a time. So we have a figurative representation of the broadcast receiver and the Android system. So the last component is widgets and notification. So the widgets display the application of you can say a new content. Suppose if you want to have a new component, then we can create it as a widget, and this widget can be classified into information widget, collection widget, control widget and hybrid widget. So information widget is something like that gives us information like clock, and the collection widget is email application, and the control widget is something like a widget that allows user to play music from outside the application. Hybrid widget combines the information of all these 3 widgets like information widget, collection widget and control widget. The last component is notification, that allows the user, suppose if any event happens, that will be notified to the user using this notification. So these are the main components of another application. Apart from that, we can also have our own defined components. Thank you.